Hey guys, Jackie Wolf here. And of course you know who I am, though. I'm that strange VTuber that's a little bit different. Anyways, we're gonna be talking about an article from the Post Millennial today, and I'm gonna be reading through it as we go through. Because, well, that's kind of my job, isn't it? Revealed Katie Hobbs' office contacted Twitter to censor posts. Now, this is actually fairly damning considering what's been going on with recent Twitter stuff, like beyond what you would believe. Sorry, I had to fix something there, but beyond what you would believe, and it's kind of creepy and scary about all the stuff that's been coming out in the last little bit. You know, a lot of people don't. I guess a lot of people don't understand that what's going on is not a good thing at all. It's actually a very bad thing and very troublesome. I'm flagging this Twitter account for your review, Katie Hobbs, comm director told misinformation at sysecurity.org, linking the unidentified profile they forwarded that messages to Twitter. Look at these posts down the question in the same way. And of course, a picture that I can't enlarge. Post millennial, I need to be able to enlarge its stuff, babies. Arizona Governor elect Katie Hobbs is facing backlash as proof of her office request to contain certain tweets to be censored out of Elon Musk's release of the Twitter files. The internal documents showing collusion between government officials, campaign teams, and like other actors within social media giant to silence political dissent. And I'm going to hope that no matter what side of the aisle you've read the Twitter files, which is very damning and absolutely cray cray and cringe. It's not something that like we need to be doing. Censorship is actually bad. That is why I favor decentralizing as much as possible, at least when it comes to content. On January 7th, 2021, the communications director for Katie Hobbs' Secretary of State office emailed Center for Internet Security, CIS, a 501 nonprofit cybersecurity organization that manages to connect the world to a safer place for people, business, and governments through our core contemporaries of calibration and innovation, according to their website. And I'm not even going to much care about that because um, their website is utter trash and it's probably not going to detail the fact that this is actually a really bad thing. I'm flagging this Twitter account for your review, Hub's com director wrote to their website or to their one of their email. Lincoln and unidentified. This subject line was election related misinformation. The misinformation department at CIS then forwarded the message along with an employee at Twitter, writing, "Please report this below from Arizona SOS office. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you," Twitter wrote back. "We will escalate." And with recent information that I've been reading through about the Twitter files, and I am reading through it because this is taking longer than reading a book on syndicalism, communism, etc. About 7 hours later, a Twitter employee wrote again, "Thank you both. Both tweets have been removed from the service." Copied this response was an employee at the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, a branch under the federal government, Department of Homeland Security. That means feds that manipulated a state election. Christina Bob, unreal. Katie Hobbs' office contacts Twitter to have posts removed so that the Democratic candidate who ran the AZ election censored her political opponents, disrupted election day votes, and then threatened to counties with prosecution if they did not declare her the winner. Does this sound like the kind of society that our founders envisioned? Does this sound like a fair election to you? Doesn't sound like a fair election to me. And I'm reporting on these I'm not making general statements. So, YouTube, when you start screaming at me, please remember this is me reading a news article that is written by facts. This is a tweet. And this tweet, come on. Sometimes, Opera, you kept wanting to open while I was streaming last night, and now you want to do this shit to me. Opera, sometimes you annoy me. This is receipts, man. This is receipts. Thank you. Both tweets. Yeah, this is some receipts. You see that? And take in mind, I'm not some MAGA Republican. I'm not a Republican at all, actually. Nor am I Democratic. Georgia Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene called for an investigation into the matter, writing, "The SOS of AZ and government candidate Katie Hobbs used the power of AZ SOS to collude with Twitter unconstitutionally, violate the First Amendment rights of Americans for their own political gain." This is true. I don't actually see a problem with this statement. Although I guarantee you somebody somewhere is going to complain about this because, oh my god, this Rideoid said it without actually even looking into who I am as a person. This is communism and Hobbs cannot be governor. I'm calling for a federal investigation, she added. Well, in many ways, a lot of communist states ran like this, but I wouldn't call this communism. I call this corrupt cronyism. So I disagree with you, Marjorie, but only because you had to add the communism quote in there. Take in mind, I am no communist, by no means. And again, receipts. Arrest them all, conservative talk show host Todd Starnes said. Another bombshell. Arizona Secretary of State Katie Hobbs was in regular communication with Twitter, telling them who to censor, and Twitter compiled. Arrest them all. Yeah, this is election tampering. This is no different than going to the polls and telling people if you don't vote a certain way, we'll break your kneecaps. This is highly illegal. Last week, Musk announced that the public deserves to know what really happened behind the closed doors at Twitter, and started releasing what is known as Twitter files. And I am sure there's probably going to be more. There's been 2 mass releases, but I think there's going to be more as time goes on. Because, let's face it, Twitter's the 3rd biggest social media company in the world. And Twitter is a very powerful tool because messages can go out in an instant. The thing is Twitter is not a very good tool anymore. Twitter has mostly destroyed itself because, well, it played politics. On Friday, the Twitter owner began sharing the files via journalist Matt Taibbi. And thank you, Matt, for your wonderful work. I don't agree with everything you say, but thank you for your wonderful work. Showed proof that President Joe Biden's campaign interfered with the dissemination of the Hunter Biden laptop story, which was banned from the platform when it first broke. And do you know how many times I get tweets where somebody said, well, it's about the penises? No, it's about the big guy. The big guy gets 10. You know, the big guy gets 10%. The big guy being Joe Biden. Now, have you not figured that out yet? We're not talking about the porn. The porn was discussing, it was everything else. It was the emails and stuff like that. But, you know, I don't expect people that have no information to actually understand anything. Especially when mainstream media is not even talking about this stuff. Here we go. Republican Rep. Tory Nellis on Fridays ensured that investigations were coming into the involvement of government officials had in the censorship of Twitter. And I believe that any government official that had any involvement in the censorship of Twitter should be stripped of their office immediately and borderline arrested for treason. They're breaking constitutional oaths. The recent names of government officials investigations are coming, which is a very important thing to this story. I don't think a lot of people understand how big and important this is. And honestly, I don't believe that Twitter is the only platform having these issues. I actually believe that more than just Twitter are having these issues. And I'm pretty sure it's, well, universal at this point. Now, most people don't know this, but this is actually a very good thing. A lot of people are blackpilled about it and kind of screaming and hollering about it, but it's actually a very good thing. The reason it's a good thing is because this is starting to highlight the problems that a lot of us have been screaming about. You see, my Twitter account was shadow banned before Elon Musk took over, as was my YouTube account. And I don't really talk about news as much as I used to. I try not to dive into politics. I would rather focus on playing video games and culture, because that's where I'm comfortable at. And, well, I'm also kind of trans. So it's really uncomfortable for me to be in either of those spaces. I don't like Democrats because they try to file me away as some kind of box fetish hedonist. And a lot of Republicans can't really tell what I am. I get jokes like you're just going to kill yourself and stuff like that all the time. And really, I feel happier than I ever have. So it's one of those things like I get tired of it and just don't want to deal with it. I'd rather talk about guns and video games and cute boys. I also have people that, oh, well, you won't ever pass with your voice. A lot of people don't know this, but I used to drink very heavily. My vocal cords are actually shot. There's 7 layers of filters that goes on in between what y'all hear in my voice. I also used to smoke heavily. So, I figured I'd share some personal information here. But I digress. This video is long enough for one of these. And yeah, I've been going through the Twitter story. Matt Taibbi has done a very beautiful job. And if you want to hate me for this stuff, I don't really care. You're wasting your breath and your time. Bye. Oh yeah, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Love you all.